All right, we're back with another Fantasy Goodfellas where we talk about the top 30 wide receivers for Week 12. But before we can move on, let's just do a recap on the last week.
In Week 11, we hit on 22 of our 30 wide receivers. Boom, boom, boom. We hit on 11 of the top 15. It was an excellent week all around.
All right, let's get started with the top 30 wide receivers for Week 12. The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Boom, boom, boom.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
And number 1, Tyreek Hill at Tampa Bay. Number 2, Davante Adams, home against Chicago. Number 3, DK Metcalf at Philadelphia. And number 4, DeAndre Hopkins at New England. DeAndre had an off week last week, but I think he'll rebound. At number 5, Will Fuller at Detroit. Deshaun Watson starting to heat up. He's got some tough matchups coming up, but not this week. Number 6, Calvin Ridley, home against Las Vegas, where he's going to be the number 1 guy, where Julio Jones is probably not going to play. Number 7, Stefon Diggs, home against the Chargers. This one we feel will be a shootout.
This week's shootout.
At number 8, boom, 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 Adam Thielen, a guy that we haven't given enough love to. Unfortunately, he might miss this week due to COVID, but Thielen has been hot. Ryan, how hot has he been?
He's the 4th wide receiver in standard leagues. He leads the league in receiving TDs with 11. He has 646 receiving yards. Hopefully, he doesn't miss any time this week.
And number 9, Keenan Allen at Buffalo. Number 10, Terry McLaurin at Dallas. It's a good matchup for Scary Terry. Can Alex Smith get him the ball? And number 11, Michael Thomas at Denver. And, you know, we love Taysom Hill, but passed it a bunch of times to Thomas last week. Will that trend continue? And is Hill going to pass enough to make Michael Thomas a top 10 receiver? We will see, but we're definitely excited. And number 12, Mike Evans, home against Kansas City. He's starting to look like Brady's number 1 guy. But again, there's so many targets on that team. And number 13, A.J. Brown at Indianapolis. Tough defensive matchup, but it's A.J. Brown who has been outstanding all season. And number 14, a guy that had a great week against the Tampa Bay Bucks defense, Cooper Kupp. This time he's home against San Francisco. Ryan, what do you have on Cooper?
It's going to be an interesting matchup. San Francisco is ranked 5th against the pass, 9th against the rush, and Cooper Kupp's only had 2 100-yard games out of 10 games he played, with 2 TDs, so I'm looking forward to this matchup. It's going to be a tough one.
Number 15, we have Justin Jefferson, home against Carolina. Jefferson's coming off a decent game. He has been pretty good. He has been another rookie surprise, but Jefferson has been outstanding. And number 16, we have Robert Woods, home against San Francisco. We have that 1-2 Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods punch that did so well against a good Tampa Bay defense. Now they play against another good defense, but it looks like Jared Goff is finding his strides. At 17, DJ Moore at Minnesota. The playmaking wide receiver starting to catch fire. We hope the trend continues. We got him at 17. At 18, Chase Claypool. Tough matchup, but Chase has been awesome. He's a top 10 fantasy receiver right now. He looks like Pittsburgh's number 1 receiver. And number 19, a guy whose stock is dropping.
This week's fantasy player stock is falling.
Tyler Lockett. Ryan, can you explain what I mean?
Tyler Lockett is a little inconsistent. He has 67 yards or less in the last 4 games, only 1 TD in the last 4 games, too inconsistent to be in the top 15.
I agree. We gave him love after his second 3-touchdown game and said, you know, maybe he'll start catching touchdowns now. It hasn't happened. It's DK Metcalf and everybody else. At number 20, we have Brandin Cooks at Detroit. Good matchup, good quarterback. Ryan, what do you have to say?
That Detroit defense is ranked 25th against the pass, 30th against the run, so it should be wide open out there.
At number 21, we have Allen Robinson at Green Bay. I love Allen Robinson, but Nick Foles is terrible. That Chicago offense is terrible. Ironically, Mitch Trubisky might be able to save the day. At number 22, we have DeVante Parker at the New York Jets. He's Miami's number 1. Can Tua rebound and make DeVante Parker do well, Brian?
Well, I think Tua is going to have a good opportunity to rebound after the stinker that he had the last game. He's going against the New York Jets, who are ranked 30th against the pass, 12th against the rush. This might just be the time that he gets back on track.
Number 23, Diontae Johnson, home against Baltimore. It's a tough matchup, but we expect Diontae Johnson to do well, especially if Juju Smith-Schuster doesn't play. At number 24, Amari Cooper, home against Washington. Dallas's number 1 guy. At 25, Chris Godwin, home against Kansas City. This is their second Tampa Bay receiver. I think Brady is going to light it up. At number 26, Christian Kirk at New England. It's the number 1 offense, right? It's Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, and Christian Kirk. I like all the Cardinals this week against the Patriots. Number 27, Marvin Jones, home against Houston. Marvin Jones has been steady, right? Galladay hasn't been playing. Marvin Jones has been getting his chances. At number 28, we have CeeDee Lamb, home against Washington. Again, good matchup. Dalton looks like he's heating up. CeeDee Lamb, welcome back to the top 30. At number 29, Curtis Samuel at Minnesota. Samuel was good in week 11. He continues to make plays, continues to score touchdowns for Carolina. We're going to include him in our top 30. And at number 30, Antonio Brown. Brady is absolutely looking for him. He's been targeted a bunch of times. Ryan, can you expand on that?
Tom Brady has targeted him 26 times in the last 3 games. He has 18 receptions for 157 yards, but no touchdowns. Brady just keeps going to him deep, and there's potential for a long TD, but yeah, Brady still has Evans and Godwin and Gronk to take those touchdowns away.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem there, right? There's a lot of targets, right? So that is our top 30 wide receivers for week 12.
All right. Well, we like that confidence. And again, thanks for coming on here and sharing your rankings. I know it helps me. Thanks for coming on here and sharing.
No problem. Thank you.